3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. This is Ignacy and Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 233, and we're recording it on April 22nd, 2022. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and it is official. Tom Vassell will also be at the World Series of Board Gaming in Las Vegas, which takes place at the end of September into early October. However, Tom Vassell is not the guest of honor. That title has been given to the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. Ignacy, you think I'm going to get a little mileage out of this one? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There is a problem.
What's that?
I don't understand this word.
Mileage? Oh, I'm going to get a little bit.
I cannot answer the question.
It's an idiom. You get a lot of mileage out of it. You get a lot of use out of it.
Okay.
Will I get a lot of use out of doing this?
Yes, you will.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's going to, oh my goodness. It's going to be great. I'll be torturing him.
He's going there as a vlogger. He's going there to play board games.
Well, they're sending him out also. Who knows? Maybe they will call him another guest of honor. I don't know, but he's going out there. That's my thing. It's on the website. You can go to WSBG Vegas World Series Board Game, WSBGVegas.com, and you can see all the sponsors. You can see my logo, Dice Tower logo. Tom and the Dice Tower is sponsoring the open gaming area, right? So that's cool. And they're going to bring the entire Dice Tower West library, which is there in Vegas, to the convention so people can game, which is great. So they're going to get paid to do that. And they're flying Tom out too, to be there. But I was the first guest of honor.
Nice.
I'm gonna torture him about that. No, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to hang out with him, there, because it won't be a Dice Tower event. We'll just be gaming and hanging out and doing fun stuff and doing Vegas things and all kinds of fun stuff. Meanwhile, Ignacy, tell us really what is happening over at Portal Games.
Well, another convention. You are mentioning Vegas. I guess Birmingham is not that sexy as Vegas, but still it's a beautiful city. And yes, we are preparing for the UK Game Expo in Birmingham, one of the biggest conventions in Europe. Before
in the world.
COVID, yes, before the COVID, we hope it will be bigger and bigger in upcoming years. And Portal Games is going there with the booth. I will not be there personally because I'm going to Italy, to Modena, to different convention. But we as a Portal Games will be there. So I want to invite everybody. If you are preparing for UK Game Expo, find out our booth. We are on the island next to the Yellow. So our friends from France. We will be there pre-releasing this beautiful game called Gutenberg. I have a box with me. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. Gutenberg, amazing game from Polish designers, seal of excellence from the mentioned Tom Vassell. And this is a worldwide pre-release before it actually hits the retail. So that's amazing. If you are a press, please reach us. If you want to do interviews with us and the coverage, we are there for you. So reach me. And this is the biggest news. Yes.
And it at the Gathering of Friends, which I just got back from, they were playing, everybody was playing Gutenberg. It was one of his. I did not get a chance to play that one, but I saw that being played quite a bit and people were really enjoying it.
Yeah, this game has this amazing feature that you start the game and it immediately clicks. Everything is so easy to grasp, so easy to understand. You don't browse the rule book. Kudos to designers to make so polished rules. I'm very proud that I'm publishing it worldwide in English edition.
Is that polished or Polished?
Yeah, this is the thing that I learned this, that this is different words.
Same spelling.
Yep. Pre-order and street dates at the very last moment to pre-order Gutenberg, because as I said, the street date June 9th. Last moment to pre-order Batman because it's 3 days on May 19th. We are already shipping or sending review copies. I also have my copy here. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this box. Everybody lies. It looks amazing. Review copy sent. Antares, the whole website is working. So we are now waiting eagerly for reviewers to play it and give feedback to the fans, and then you will play the games and you will have fun. So this is what's happening. Pre-orders, last call, guys. Don't whine, don't complain, because we have a goodies for you. We have a notepad, we have a newspapers, we have all this additional stuff. So it's good for you to grab it right now. And what's happening at HQ, at the headquarters, preparations for these releases. So as I mentioned, shipping review copies, preparing all the orders from the distributors, all the orders from the retailers, preparing all the campaign for these games. So lots of things, 2 big releases for us. And in the meantime, we have the UK Game Expo to prepare. I'm the guest for the convention in Modena, in Italy. So good spring, good times, very, very happy, very busy, but good busy. So this is what's happening in Poland. What's happening in America?
What's happening in America? Well, I'm back from the Gathering of Friends. Bunch of very interesting things there. I talked about when we recorded last week, it was about halfway through or so from the Gathering. And I mentioned the games I played. I'll mention another one at the end of the show that was one of my hits. But I think I'm going to mention my 2 biggest hits for me games that I played were Furnace from Arcane Wonders. Yep. You can consider Furnace engine building the board game. If you like an engine building game, this game is only engine building. Well, there's a card bidding mechanic where you're going to bid, a very interesting mechanic where you're going to pull the cards that will
sometimes
give you.
Sometimes we want to lose the bid, right? This is very
right. Yes. So you want to lose the bid, because if you lose it, you get compensation, and that means you're going to get the resources that are at the top of the card times 1, 2, 3, because the number that you bid will give you a multiplier on your compensation, and that's good if you don't want the card, and you don't want all the cards because your engine would get too big at some point and not efficient. Then you win them and you take these cards and you put them, you take a little bit of time, you put them in an order, whatever order you want, and then you run the engine. You bring in resources, you get other resources or victory or money, which is your victory points, or you upgrade cards, etc. At the end of that, you do it again. You do it 4 times, and every time you do it, you change up your engine. You can change the cards any way you want. I really love the distillation of engine building to these sets of cards. Love the way it works. And I did not get it at Gen Con. I did not get a chance to get it at not PAX. It was a Dice Tower West. I had a chance to buy it.
Essen. I got it at Essen here in Europe.
Essen, you got it right. I had the chance to get it at Gen Con. I didn't say Essen. I think I meant Gen Con. I had the chance to get it. I guess I could have gotten it at PAX. I didn't even think about it, and I didn't get it. I missed getting it at I said it again, Dice Tower West. I tried to get it. It was sold out, so I got it here, and I loved it. I just ordered it online, and I loved it.
Perfect.
And the one game I didn't play that I think I can mention this game because nobody said, well, don't talk about it. I can mention it, but I didn't get to play test it, was Matt Leacock is at the Gathering of Friends, and he was play testing a new Pandemic. And oh my God,
and now everybody is, our views are now going higher.
Yeah, maybe. Pandemic, Lord of the Rings. Now, I'm just going to say that it's a thing. I don't know anything about it. Well, I know this much more about it, but I won't say anything else, only because I didn't get like official, okay. Obviously, I didn't take pictures. I didn't ask about it. I wanted to play it. I almost did with Matt, but timing didn't work out. But I can't wait to actually play that, see that again. But it's in progress. So that is just an awesome thing.
Brilliant.
Remodeling, Ignacy. I'm sorry, Ignacy. Everything is done.
This is done.
It's done. Yeah, my God. I know. I can't torture you anymore with good news, and you can't be happy about the bad news anymore. I'm sorry. We just even our electric blinds. That was back there. That blind back there is electric. It's kind of cool. So we put in new blinds, and I'm gonna hook them up into Alexa, and I can say, I don't want to say her name because she'll open up. I just said Alexa. She didn't say anything. Alexa, hi.
Well, hello. Want to hear something funny?
Alexa, end. So I can hook my blinds up into that, and the lighting is going to be smart. More of it's going to be smart. That's a little touches. That, oh my God, she's still talking. Alexa, end. That's the one problem. Every time she won't shut up. Anyway, so very good stuff. But the remodeling is done.
There is a question from all our listeners. Will you miss the process?
No, and no.
Is
no.
it definitive? Definitive no?
I have what's called remodeling fatigue. I mean, it's over a year in the making, from like looking at things, we got which tiles do we want, I'm fatigued. I want to enjoy the house and entertain in the house. No more remodeling. I got to buy some furniture and things, but that's different. It'll be a much slower, easier pace. I'm done.
Okay.
Cons and trips. We mentioned the gathering of friends. We're back. One of the bad things, sadly, that happened was that a large group of people ended up getting COVID, even though at the gathering of friends, 100% of the people are vaccinated. Most are boosted, but you got to keep vigilant. You got to just make sure you keep washing hands, be careful. A lot of people did, but nobody got very sick. And that's the whole point, right? So if we're vaccinated and boosted, we don't go to the hospital. You get a cold, and we don't want to spread those colds. So keep vigilant, keep up with these things. Make sure your parents and your friends, just try to urge them to just keep doing the right thing. But everybody's fine and had a great time there. Tonight, I'm going to see at the Hard Rock Casino and Hotel down in Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to see The Who. I saw The Who. It was my second convention ever in 1978. I guarantee that we have listeners that were not alive in 1978. Ignacy, when were you born?
76.
So you were alive then. So I'm going to see The Who down there tonight. And then Paula and I and some of our friends are going up to Tampa for 2 days. And as part of that, we're going to see Elton John again. Epic weekend of concerts for me. And the first time I saw Elton John, which was my first concert ever, was 1979. And I've seen him many times over the years because he's my number one of all. So that's going to be real fun. In about 2 weeks, Paula and I are taking a big trip. We're going out to Hawaii for 2 weeks. I haven't taken a full 2-week trip in a really long time. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to go with some friends that are local here. But Zev of WizKids is going to be there at the same time. We had told him we were going to be there. He was going to go anyway. So he kind of like structured the trip around the same times because that's when he wanted to go anyway as well. So we're going to probably see him on Oahu for a little while and on the Big Island for a little while. So that's just going to be so much fun to be with some local friends here, as well as seeing Zev a couple of times. I'm very excited about this trip. Are you jealous, Ignacy, or you don't want to?
You travel a lot.
I do.
You should put your house on Airbnb and so people can, somebody would enjoy this remodeling because I'm not enjoying it too.
I'm not enjoying my remodeling enough. I agree. I do travel a lot. I don't like the process of travel. I like being there, so to speak. Okay. Right? I don't like planes and airports. Can't stand them, but I do like, the new experience. And, that's what it's about right now. Since I can do it, it's been really great. In the meantime, let's get over to the event deck. Ignacy, we have so much news here. We'll never get through it all. So you got to keep us on schedule here. The first thing that I want to talk about, which I should have mentioned a couple of weeks ago, is this book that people should be seeing on YouTube right now. And you guys should watch us on YouTube once in a while, podcast listeners, because you can see our stupid faces and our Ignacy's pretty face. This book is by a long-time listener and friend of the show, Eric Hanwies of Flatlined Games. He is a board game publisher as well. So he's written a book called Board Game Publishing. It's Better Than a Real Job. And it takes you through a lot of what we talk about here and how we do things and what's die cutting and, what's the pre-press process and your file management, the cost of game development, chapter after chapter. It's an encyclopedia of what we do. Now, it's, you're going to get some nitty gritty types of stuff in here, but you won't work on the smallest details. But it's 265 pages of goodness here, and you can get this book on Amazon. So I'm giving a little advertisement to Eric Hanwies of Flatline Games, who's a friend of mine from the industry, great guy from Belgium. Ignacy knows him well, and he's one of the people that when he sees news out there that we don't see, he sends it over to us every week. I'm going to mention the book at least twice because I love Eric. He's such a good guy. Thank you, Eric, for being a good friend. I hope your book does well. You can get it on Amazon and many other places, and you can get it on digital format if you like that, or you can get it in physical. I bought the physical copy, as you can see right here.
Yes, and if I can add, because all our listeners know that I'm obsessed with education and teaching, and I'm always complaining on Gamma because they're not teaching enough, in my opinion. If you are starting a company, if you start a company, reading this one book will save you money because it saves you some mistakes. We all do mistakes because it is a new process for us when we are publishing games. So some of these chapters will save you some trouble. Some of these chapters will save you some money if you are not making a mistake. So absolutely great investment for all the independent publishers to know all the details you should know. Of course, you will still make some mistakes.
Of course.
But Eric will save you from some. So absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric, for the book. Actually, I purchased the book, but thank you for writing this book. That's going to be really, really good for people. So some interesting news in the crowdfunding world. It's funny. I think I have this twice. This piece of news. I might move things around now. The CEO of Kickstarter has stepped down, and he stepped down after being there for 3 years. And the chief operating officer, Sean Liao, has been named the interim CEO. The decision was officially announced in a blog post titled "Moving Forward with Gratitude" and named the chief operating officer as the interim CEO. While not mentioned in the article, Fast Company reports, that's the name of this blog post, that Hassan is leaving his position to focus on family and make good on recent personal reflections. His last day at the company will be April 4th, which has passed already, but Hassan said he will remain in an advisory position until the board of directors has selected his replacement. So we talked about some bad acting that occurred at the company. It was very controversial what happened there. So it's good to see that he's made good on promises to leave the company, and hopefully the company takes steps to improve the internal operations over time.
Yep. No, I don't have anything to add. We had a couple of very weird news about the Kickstarter recently. There was actually, to be honest, there was no a pretty positive news in the last few months, only either rumors, gossips, or some problems. So maybe new change will help.
Exactly. Now, interestingly enough, I can't find the article that I was going to mention. Or maybe we did it last week and I forgot that we did it.
Yes.
You know, I'm talking about GameFound.
Yes,
is now opened. We did it last week.
Yep.
So let's quickly mention that GameFound is doing gangbusters. Everybody is now allowed to be on that platform who is part of the game industry. So Ignacy, your prediction of the percentage of the market that GameFound is going to have, I think is going to end up coming true, but we'll have to figure that out at the end of the year. They are really doing well. I just backed yet another project there for Sleeping Gods, Distant Skies, the follow-up to.
This will be huge. Yes, this is this will be huge.
It's amazing game, and I look forward to starting the first part of it before I get the second part of it. A quick note that Gamma Expo and the Toy Fair, we talked about already that they were doing interim shifting. The shifts of their dates are now permanent. They're moving their dates. The Toy Fair is moving into September, end of September into October. basically at the same time as the World Series of Board Game. It's just how it happens to be. And the Gamma Expo is doing a shift next year to late April, about 6 weeks later than they normally do it. This shift is not permanent. They're going to be looking because they're probably moving their location after this. So it's just an interesting thing. And we'll see how this plays out because Toy Fair is normally done early in the year. So it talks about the games and the toys that are coming out at Christmas time. Now they're going to be doing it 6 months earlier than that, which is going to be very difficult to kind of do planning. So I think that's going to be a very interesting decision for them.
Yep.
Stonemeier Games. Wow. We're going to mention this because Stonemaier is one of the few privately held companies that talks about their profit and their revenues. And Jamie Stegmaier is knocking it out of the park. That's all we can say. Their sales last year were up 38%. 38%, and over 660,000 Wingspan were sold in 2021 alone. So sales up 38% to 24.7 million from 17.9 million in 2021. Founder Stegmaier reported the company's annual report to stakeholders. That marks the third consecutive year of growth, over 30% for Stonemaier. Wingspan was far the company's bestseller with sales of 663,000 copies based on a lifetime copies reported for 2021, 1.4 million copies lifetime. That is just astonishing. So he continues to do unbelievable things. He's also going to have, we talked about Libertalia coming out in 2022. So Ignacy, I don't know if you realize a number like 24.7 million in sales puts this company just shy of and in competition with CMON, which is publicly held, and therefore they must report their sales. CMON did just a little bit more than 25 million in sales in 2020. They haven't reported their 2021 sales yet. So it's astonishing, what they're doing at this company.
These numbers are absolutely mind-blowing. We every year we congratulate Jamie because he's doing amazing stuff over the years. But these numbers are absolutely incredible. The numbers we see here for the Wingspan. I remember because this is the time that we were already doing the podcast, and you remember this too as well. The pandemic legacy, the first pandemic legacy, and the rumor says, the news says they sold 100,000 copies, and we were all blown that this number 100,000 copies for the pandemic legacy. And now a few years later, we have Wingspan selling 600,000 copies. It shows how successful a game can be if this game is great, if this game has a great potential for the growth. This is what how Asmodee expanded the whole market, bringing all these new gamers, and these new gamers are looking for the games like Wingspan. So congratulations to Jamie. He's doing absolutely amazing job, and congratulations to all of us. We are everyone trying to build this market, and it is insane.
Absolutely. Two stories on Hasbro / WotC to talk about. Hasbro is purchasing D&D Beyond from a company called Fandom for $146 million. So they've announced a deal with Fandom to purchase D&D Beyond, its digital role-playing companion, for $146 million. Fandom acquired D&D Beyond as part of its purchase of Curse LLC in 2018, part of its expansion in tabletop role-playing. Until Fandom, D&D Beyond has attracted, under Fandom, D&D Beyond has attracted nearly 10 million registered users, buoyed by the shift to online gaming during the pandemic. D&D Beyond offers online tools and digital rulebooks that allow players to create characters and resolve encounters for Dungeons & Dragons through the online platform and companion app. After the acquisition, D&D Beyond will be integrated into Wizards of the Coast. So and they talk about how digital gaming has become a major component of Wizards of the Coast's marketing strategy with Magic the Gathering Arena Online that went mobile in 2021. So Ignacy, I play D&D 5, D&D 5th edition, and I do it obviously online. I'm playing it with industry people, Rachel Blasky, Eric Schmidt, who's the COO of Stonemeier Games, Julie Ahern, Executive Vice President at Greenbrier, and Dustin, forgot his last name, I'm sorry, Dustin. We play this together, and we use D&D Beyond as our platform to play this, to keep our character sheets, to keep our hit points, everything. It's such an amazing tool. And as long as the DM owns the books and the digital versions of the books, which Eric Schmidt is DMing, he does that, and we can then use the books to create the characters and do all the work. It's an amazing platform. So now, under the bigger company of Hasbro/WotC, I can't imagine the great things that are going to happen with this. Fantastic.
I'm blown away by these numbers. 10 million registered users. We reported a couple of weeks ago that Board Game Geek website has 3 million users, and we are so proud and so happy that there's so many board gamers registered on Board Game Geek. And here we see how many role-playing gamers there is, how many people playing Dungeons and Dragons. And on the one hand, we report the record years for the Hasbro, we record the record years for the WotC, we bring some reports on the growth of the sales. But here we see how many players are playing Dungeons and Dragons, and this is like insane army of gamers, and it's amazing.
Right, exactly. I'm actually, so we're going to take this next two, Ignacy, because they're all part of Hasbro, and I'll be very fast on this next one. So Hasbro, we talked about it about 2 to 3 episodes ago, where an activist investor wanted Hasbro to split the mass market gaming and the WotC digital apart. Hasbro itself has addressed it and are rejecting that call to split the company, believing it will not help the company. So I'm sure we'll hear more about this. It was a very interesting idea, but this is not happening, certainly in the short term. And then the last part of the news is also a piece of WotC news, and it's very interesting. They plan to use D&D Play System, obviously 5th edition, for more IPs. Wizards of the Coast plans to use its Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons play systems for more IPs, the company revealed during the Hasbro first quarter conference call this past Tuesday. This will expand the Universes Beyond program for Magic the Gathering, but is a new development for Dungeons and Dragons. Here's a quote from them. You'll see us continue to expand the number of formats and reach new customer segments by expanding our Universes Beyond initiative, which brings IP from outside Magic into the Magic play system, says Wizards of the Coast Digital Gaming Segment President Cynthia Williams. We've talked a lot about Universes Beyond in Magic, which is this concept of thinking about Magic as a play system and bringing in outside brands or outside IPs into that play system. We see potential for that with D&D as well. So think about using the D&D play system for Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or whatever big IPs that make sense that they want to bring it in to use with the D&D system. I'm sure that this is going to be, as always, a big piece of sales for them going forward.
Yeah, this is an obvious move. I'm really surprised it took them so long to make it happen. Absolutely, we can see in the upcoming years Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and with different IPs, and we will all be so happy buying these books.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the meantime, let's get over to strategy and tactics. Okay, for this week we have Wayne Walker, who's at WWalker98. He asks, during the 2020-2021 pandemic, what game did you play the most that you would not have otherwise played much? Would not have otherwise played much due to gathering restrictions? Okay. Ignacy, is anything that you got to the table, the virtual table, or maybe with your family that you would not have played if it wasn't a pandemic?
I remember that I played a ton of Arkham Horror LCG during the pandemic, and obviously I would play the normally as well, but because I was only home alone with my wife, so I was not playing these multiplayer games with my friends. No Blood Rage, no Rising Sun, no other great games. I was sitting at home and playing Arkham Horror, and I remember this period of time that I had a ton of games of Arkham Horror, and I strongly recommend. Amazing game for solo play. Brilliant.
I think that my answer would be a couple of, I mean, it's not really the case, but I played a couple of extra 2-player games, right? Just Paula and I playing, and I got back to games like Lost Cities, right? The Knizia game, fantastic, easy to understand card playing hand management game. Love that game. And Battle Line, right? Another, right? Both of those are Knizia games,
Yep.
you know, which was Shot and Totten originally, then became Battle Line with a couple of extra rules. But besides, I mean, and then of course doing things online, like, I mean, I played Welcome to online quite a bit because it's on Board Game Arena and friends got together to do that. But I nothing that I probably wouldn't have played otherwise because I love all 3 of those games. So it didn't really affect me that much. Scott V, who's Scott Dawn 1, for the average $50 MSRP board game, how many copies do you need to sell to break even? So does that number of copies change if the MSRP is 20 or 100, or for just a simple $9.95 card game? Edit, I should have specified that this question is under the assumption of a marginal basis, not asking about covering fixed costs or FTEs, full-time employees. Well, Scott, one of the important things is that when we talk about, you know, what does it cost to break even, we always talk about a fully landed cost. So it's got to be the cost of it should be the cost of everything that goes into that game. And that includes artwork that goes into that game. It should include the cost of, definitely should include the cost of shipping the game to your warehouse. That's your fully landed cost. And I always say, Ignacy, correct me if you think this is out of line. I always say that you basically have to sell half of your print run in general to do your break even. If you don't sell half the print run pretty quickly, you're in trouble. Ignacy, what do you think about that?
Yeah, a little bit more than half.
Yeah,
like,
and I agree, a little bit more.
Yeah. If I sell half, I may be being close to break even, but it doesn't mean that I'm really actually earning money, etc., etc. So yeah, and of course it depends because Scott is asking about the MSRP. I would not say that MSRP matters here. What matters is the print run, like how many copies you printed, and on what contract, on what conditions. This is different situation when I print, for instance, Detective, my game. I printed here in Poland, and I have different margin. And it's a different case when I do a CMON Blood Rage for Polish edition, and I have different margin there. And then I do a Batman Everybody Lies, and I have different margin because the Warner Bros. Is interested in some of this. So it is a different for the production cost, what they involved, and the MSRP doesn't matter. Like it will be the same situation for the same price MSRP. I can have different outcome depending how the game was produced.
Exactly. How many copies, he also asks, are typically given away for free for promotional and review copies and demo booths and stuff? I mean, demo copy is so many of those things when you go to shows. I mean, I'd say close to 150 at least. Wouldn't you say, like that get utilized in all kinds of different ways, 50 to 100?
I remember that we had a rule that we cannot go higher than 3% of the print run. So of course, once again, it depends on the print run. And it involves, as you said, this is a review copies, this is a demo copies, this is the copies for the stores that they use it as a demo. There are copies for the gaming clubs. There are copies that are given away just as a gifts. It happens as well. But basically, we have a cap, and we monitor how many copies we gave away. And at some point, we say no more review copies available.
That's interesting. And I just quickly did the calculation. If it was 5,000 print run, 3% is 150. So yeah,
Exactly
I can see, I can see that number. Absolutely. And yeah, and there's all kinds of ways that you can give away free copies, and review copies are one, and demo copies that you're using at booths, and, you know, sometimes you charities and promotions and all kinds of things. So yeah, it's around that number. Last question we'll take is Adam C. He's at SETI with a C. What positive offer would it take to get Stephen out of retirement? On the flip side, what positive thing would get Ignacy to retire? I love this question. I love it. I mean, I've been offered jobs already. I have. And I mean, look, I always say every man has his price. Every person generically has their price. But it's not only money, of course, it would be the time commitment, right? So if somebody says, I need you to consult for me and we're going to pay you some exorbitant amount of money and I need you for 20 hours a week, and they're going to pay me ridiculous amount of money or give me some kind of perk, I guess so. Maybe if I could do it here and sit on my lounger in my pool, maybe. But to come out of full retirement, the industry doesn't have it. This industry doesn't have enough money to make that happen. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. You know what I'm trying to say, Ignacy, that
you are trying to say that you enjoy your trip to Hawaii.
Yes. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. And at no salary level, could this industry pay somebody, you know, to be in a position that I would say, okay, I'll do that. And, you know, that number is good. You know, I'll make up a number, and this is not my number. So say somebody said, for $1 million, we're going to $1 million a year. We're going to make you the president of the company, but you got to work, a lot. Well, nobody gets paid that much money really in this industry. $1 million a year is a lot of money for somebody to pay that salary. Companies, of course, make more than that, much more, but that's the owner of the company. So Adam, I appreciate that, but I'm staying in retirement and enjoying my life and staying part of the industry anyway by doing things like this and the World Series of Board Gaming and annoying Tom Bassel. These things give me pleasure, especially annoying Tom Bassel. Ignacy, what would it take you on a positive way to retire?
Yeah, the one thing that stops me the most is the fact that I'm afraid that when I'm retired, I will have to travel like you. You're giving me the terrible example of what people are doing when I retired.
Because your wife will make you travel.
Exactly. My work is my only excuse to not travel.
Oh, that is so fun.
Mary would be so happy having me not working, and then I would be visiting the whole Europe. No, I'm not going to do that.
You're so funny. Oh my gosh. Traveling is amazing. Anyway, thank you, Adam. That was a funny question. Let's get over to playtesting. So on the playtesting segment here, we're going to talk about what I asked you guys last week. And that question was, when you first joined the hobby, whatever that kind of means to you, did you use the BGG Top 100 to influence the games you bought? And do you still use the BGG Top 100 or so to influence your board game purchases? So let's see what people said about this. Ignacy, you want to go first?
Peter is terrible. Peter says, when I first joined the hobby, there wasn't BGG.
Peter, I don't believe
seriously.
that.
Peter, how old are you, sir? And then he says, also, I never even looked at the top 100 because it was always Twilight Imperium, which I'm not interested in. So apparently he likes Euro games and he's very old. This is what I get from his answer. Kurt, our loyal listener from Belgium, says he didn't. He says, I didn't use the BGG Top 100, but I definitely watched a ton of the Dice Tower Top 100 videos. And when I was through those, I searched for the other top list on the YouTube. So this is a quite similar case to me. Like I was looking for the reviews from Bruno Faidutti. Kurt was looking for the reviews from Tom Vassell, and the ranking was not important for him back then. I guess now it changed because it is really, really important these days.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Did you have another one? I can go.
No. Yes, you go.
So yeah. So I mean, this is very interesting because when you first pointed out, somebody said it didn't even exist. I thought that was like crazy, but several people are saying that, and I don't think that that's probably correct unless you're thinking you joined the hobby in the 1970s. Okay, but I think of the hobby really starting when the Euro games started coming over in the 90s, and BGG has been around since before 2000.
2008 or 7, something like that.
BGG is older than that, I'm sure.
Not much, no.
Okay. So maybe a lot of people are around and in the hobby before that. We have Jeremiah Brammer. He says, I don't use the top 100 as a way to find new games to buy. Originally, I got gateway games and games from Goodwill and thrift stores, but now I listen to a lot of podcasts. Thank you. And if I hear one that sounds interesting, I'll look into it and maybe watch some videos on it to see if I like the gameplay. Jeff McDonald says, I would say yes. I did rely on the top 100 when I entered the hobby until I figured out what types of games I enjoyed the most and found most games with a rating of 7 or higher were usually pretty good. I do own a few games under 7 that I enjoy, but I find a rating under 7 is harder to flesh out the good ones. I no longer pay attention to the top 100 unless it's a game that fits into my play style. I know that not all the games in the top 100 are games I will enjoy. And then the last one here is from Andres Silisons. He says, yes, I use the BGG Top 100 in my purchase consideration. I like popular mainstream music, movies, video games, etc. Top 100 show me which games have been popular and highly regarded in the community. I own about a quarter of the top 100 games, and several that were in the top 100 in the past. That is considerable part of my collection. So it's interesting. So we have the whole gamut there from people who don't use it to people who did use it, but not so much anymore, into Andres here, who basically is constantly using it. It's very interesting.
I really like this concept that Jeff, he was using top 100 at the very beginning to create his own taste, to know what he likes, to check different games. And after he learned about these 100 top games, then he said, okay, this is my taste, this is what games I like, and he learned what is interesting for him.
Very, very good. Ignacy, what's your question for next week as I edit your English?
Today we are discussing game mechanics. Today we are discussing what interested me, the game designer. And the question is, what is your favorite game mechanic? What makes you immediately be interested in the game? And what I mean is, when I see the game that is engine building, I'm in because I designed 51st State, I designed Imperial Settlers, I like engine building games. When I see Traitor and the Bluffing, I'm in because I know that I love to some table talk and bluff, etc. in the game. So my question is, what is your game mechanic that you love and that you are looking in the games?
I edited you a little bit there. I think that's what you mean. Like, so what's your favorite game mechanic and what made you interested in this game mechanic, right?
Yep.
To become like your favorite. Yeah, I've always said about me, Ignacy, that mine is really, I love hidden everything. I want to hide from you, Ignacy. So I like hidden trader. I like hidden movement. I like hidden objectives, right? So it's fun. And that kind of whole thing has evolved a little over time because I used to say, I love hidden trader, right? So I love my Dark Moon and I love all, the Avalon, all of those games. I mean, those the thing. And then I realized how much I love, hidden movement in that, where I'm trying to outmaneuver you in the game while you try to hunt me down, like Fury of Dracula and Whitechapel and things like that. And like hidden objectives are so cool. Like I play Twilight Imperium on those rare occasions, and I've got the thing that I'm trying to do that you can't do. And there's many games like that where this thing will be cool for me. So all of those things, that's a good way of grouping together. I just like having something that I'm trying to
Secret.
achieve. Yeah. How about you?
Engine building, engine building, engine building.
Cool.
This
Have
is
you
my thing.
have you played Furnace?
Yes, I did.
Oh, good.
Yep.
So, and right, don't you agree? It's like a distilled engine building. While it's not as cerebral and with all kinds of paths, I guess, the way certain engine builders work.
It's very clean. It's very, very smart.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody out there, we're asking you this question. What's your favorite game mechanic? Why did this become your favorite game mechanic? Ignacy, right now, he's creating a thread on Board Game Geek to ask you this question. So please go to our guild on Board Game Geek, find our play testing thread, and post your answer to the question. Thank you, everybody who are doing this. We've seen a nice uptick, right, in people interacting with us. And of course, This is why we do this. Okay, thank you so much. Meanwhile, final scoring. Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or watch us on YouTube, on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel, to see us in person, see the books like Board Game Publisher by Eric Hanouis that I show you, and Ignacy showing you a copy of Batman and things like that. You can see us do this. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek to answer our question to you from playtesting. Also, go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page, which is /PortalGamesUS and /PodfatherGaming. Our websites, portalgamesus.com, podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters, get up to the minute information on what's happening. On social media, go and speak directly to Ignacy and Steven. On Twitter and Instagram, it's @PortalGamesUS and @PodfatherGaming. On YouTube, the channel names, Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and The Podfather of Gaming. Catch Ignacy dancing on Portal Games US. We hope to see you in 2020 at an upcoming convention or event. Board Games Insider was professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. And if you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Also, that great voice you hear doing our intro, outro, and in between segments, that's Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, I'll talk a little bit about news, a little bit. You can add something in if you like. Sadly, we announced here that I'd be doing a recording from the Gathering of Friends last week. It didn't happen. Danielle Standring, who we mentioned last week, is now working for Portal Games, doing social media and other marketing things. We didn't get a chance to record. However, Danielle and I did two very important things. One, we played Batman Everybody Lies together, and it was amazing, Ignacy. I'm really saying that, not just because you did it. It really puts you in the world of Batman. Character-wise, theme-wise, the look of the game, home run. Thank you for bringing that game out. I really loved it.
Thank you, sir. Did you win?
We did okay. We did not.
So I was able to fool you a little bit. There was some red herrings and some things.
There were definitely red herrings that
Awesome.
that made you, and the red herrings were fun, really fun red herrings too. That you realize oh, that was for color, and it was really, really interesting. Awesome. And I won't say more than that. But the most important thing that Danielle and I and Corey Thompson and Paula, we all did together, we got together and we drank some epic beers and drank some great wine too. Danielle lives in Massachusetts, and she lives near a brewery called Treehouse, which literally is one of the greatest breweries in the country. I visited there. Their beers are very rare. They make them in small batches. One of the great Northeast breweries, and she brought some down. Other people brought some down as well, and we had a fun epic beer experience together. Danielle is a lovely person. Maybe I will reach out and we can do like an episode and talk a little bit about how she's doing, what she's doing for the company, things like that. In the future, we'll do it online instead or at another convention. But sorry, Ignacy, didn't do that recording, but you've definitely hit a home run. Danielle's amazing.
I agree. I'm very proud of this hire. She's absolutely amazing, and she gives a lot of positive energy to the team.
Absolutely. And Batman's amazing too. So everyone should check out Batman, Everybody Lies. Until next time, everybody, speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.